The day that everything happened, it was May 21st.
What happened to Katie Longendijk that day is something most people wouldn't believe.
I started getting cramps down the front of my legs, which is what always happens to me when I get my period.
But Longendijk wasn't getting her monthly period.
I didn't know what was happening. I was terrified. And it felt like, there was something inside of me that needed to come out, so I just pushed and it happened.
While her parents slept in a room nearby, she gave birth to a baby girl at their family home on Long Island, New York. Even more shocking, the 22-year-old says until then, she had no idea she was pregnant.
I was on birth control, taking birth control regularly. I never missed a pill. I noticed a lighter period, so just to be sure, I just, took a pregnancy test and it came up negative.
Months later, when she noticed some weight gain, she took another test.
It came up negative as well. So, I continued on, taking my birth control, getting my period, going about, normal stuff.
Her mother had been diagnosed with breast cancer around that same time, so Longendijk and others attributed the weight gain to stress. Besides, she didn't suffer from any usual ailments associated with pregnancy.
10 to 15 pounds isn't that much for a girl to gain, especially while being pregnant. I didn't notice any symptoms like, morning sickness or discomfort. I never noticed kicking, no extreme back pains, nothing that if you weren't pregnant prior to this that you would be like, I think I'm pregnant.
It wasn't until a half hour before her delivery that Longendijk says she realized she was having a child.
At that point when I was so scared that, rational things like that just weren't coming to mind. Like, go wake up your parents or go get help, go find somebody, anybody.
Longendijk says there are only bits and pieces that she remembers next.
When I gave birth to her, I cut the umbilical cord and I wrapped her up. I remember driving down the street and going around the corner of my block, and there's like an alcove, like a grassy area. So I placed her there and I got in my car, and as soon as I got in my car, I picked up my cell phone and called the police.
Longendijk left her baby in these bushes near her home. Police say they found the 6-pound girl wrapped in bath towels and losing blood. She now faces felony charges of reckless endangerment and child abandonment. If convicted, she faces up to 7 years in prison. But Longendijk's attorney argues that the way in which she abandoned her baby gives her protection under state law.
There is a question whether or not she falls within a safe haven law. At this point, of course, we think that she does.
New York's safe haven law states that a woman cannot be prosecuted if the child is left in a suitable place and authorities are promptly notified of that baby's location.
That wasn't the optimal decision, but given the state of mind that she was in at the time, the important thing was she immediately called 911.
Despite repeated requests, the Suffolk County District Attorney declined to give us a statement on the case. Longendijk says she never knew about safe haven laws and expressed remorse for her actions that day.
I think back and I regret the decision that I made, the drive down the block and leaving her there.
Her baby, named Emma Grace, has since been adopted. In the meantime, Longendijk wants her story to reach other mothers who may be in crisis.
Just tell somebody if you know. Just tell somebody, anybody, a friend, a teacher, anybody. Just tell somebody. Don't do it by yourself. It's not worth it.
For UPI.com, I'm Kristen Volk.